The Raptors beat the Celtics for the first time since 2022, so let's dive into the film room. Grady Dick was just exceptional in all areas of the game tonight, and I think a lot of that has to do with how confident he looked. Stroking it from outside, being able to settle into mid-range jump shots like this, off of movement, just great work from him as a shot creator. Starting out confident like this, 5 feet behind the three-point line. That's the type of confidence that Grady Dick needs this season as he steps into a starting role. And I think he works so well next to Scottie Barnes because he's such an instinctual cutter. Look at this pseudo transition, beautiful pass, and a beautiful finish by Grady. And this is how Scottie and Grady can connect on ball. Dribble handoff, Grady just rises up as soon as he catches it. Again, the confidence is key there. Just being able to and willing to let it fly. Again, being able to catch on the movement and settle into these mid-range shots. His length allows him to shoot over the outstretched hand of Horford. Good job pushing it here in transition. Same thing here. Nice slot cut. Catches the ball on the move and finishes over Kornet. And this is just a dime from Davion. Beautiful pass. I love how heady Grady is in transition. That was 1 of 10 assists for Davion tonight, by the way, doing an exceptional job of making plays for others. I also love how Grady's gravity commands attention for the defense, right? So he is a part of this action by clearing out the right side. Now it is a middle pick and roll between Scottie and Yak. The reason that happened was because Grady cleared it out and because Derek White had to follow there. And he's just such a dangerous cutter. Here Yak is finding him on this pseudo alley-oop. Just an incredible play from both players. More Scottie and Grady. And so Tatum is expecting this dribble handoff. He wants to top block it. Instead, Grady just goes backdoor. Again, the gravity of Grady's shooting is creating these cutting opportunities for him. And as he develops as an on-ball player, he'll be able to attack these closeouts more often. So here, pseudo transition, attacks the closeout, tries this hook shot, which would have been insane, by the way. Stonewalls Derek White, gets the steal, goes all the way and finishes over Jason Tatum. And honestly, that was the full package from Grady Dick tonight. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I think there was just so much good from tonight's game. Shooting with confidence, letting it fly off the bounce, willing to cut, willing to finish at awkward angles. Just a great transition player, connecting and having chemistry with Scottie Barnes and Jakob Poeltl. This is a guy who can do a lot on the offensive end. And Coach Rajakovic mentioned that post-game, as you can see this tweet right here where he says he can do a little bit of everything. He has to develop that, obviously. But I think this is the year that happens. We're seeing him be so much more confident in his shot. And I think this is going to be important for him moving forward and the Raptors moving forward because their three-point shooting is limited to really, elite three-point shooting is limited to really just him and Emmanuel Quickley. And if it's most of your three-point shots are coming from your backcourt, the onus is going to be on them to space the floor for Scottie, for RJ, for Jakob. And ultimately, because Scottie and RJ are your main scorers, so to speak, I think there's just going to be so much opportunity for Quickley and Grady to feast off of them, both on the ball and off the ball as a cutter, as a screener, utilizing these guys and their gravity. And that's what we saw tonight. From the Raptors. Really impressed also with Scottie Barnes. Obviously, people are going to bring up the shooting. The shooting was an exceptional element. Him and Grady caught fire, but there were some other elements too that I was really impressed by. Obviously, pulling up and settling into these shots. Teams are going to go under the pick and roll, so he has to be confident shooting that. I really enjoy how confident he looks settling into mid-range looks as well. Just rises up over Tillman. Loving the defensive activity, picking up Derek White at half court, clapping in his face, ball pressure. You can tell that he really wants to get a stop on this possession. He's active off ball. And, the more he develops as a shooter, the more potent his attack and closeout game is. Here he is. Kornet has to close out to him, and he just dribbles right past him, finishes, and one. And this is the Scottie we know. Pushes it in transition, push, relocate, and then beautiful pass to Ochai there, who also had a really, really good game on the inside. Finishing has been great from Ochai so far. This is one of those other options with Grady Dick. This time he keeps the ball for himself in the dribble handoff. Grady clears out. He clears out Jaylen Brown, so now it's empty side pick and roll, And I love these mid-post pick and rolls between Scottie and Jakob because it helps Scottie settle into a spot that he really enjoys, which is that short mid-range area. Speaking of the short mid-range area, here he is taking Jaylen Brown off the dribble and bumping him and settling into a mid-range shot. That's tough, y'all. Jaylen Brown is extremely strong. And again, more on-ball activity defensively. Here he is doing a great job activity-wise on Jason Tatum to get the stop in the fourth. And so Scottie and Grady did a lot tonight. It was such a better game compared to Sunday, which I didn't do a recap of, thankfully. And it was a bad game on Sunday. They just got destroyed and never really had an opportunity to get back into it. Yes, in the second half, a guy like Mobo did a good job. Scottie Barnes did a better job in the second half of establishing himself. Jakob did a good job. But this game just had everything, right? And you look at what the starters did. You look at Davion Mitchell and the playmaking. You look at Ochai Agbaji and the finishing and the rebounding. Jakob Poeltl with the finishing and rebounding as well. Jakob's touch so far this season has been incredible, and maybe I'll end up doing a video or an article or something like that on Raptors Republic at some point this week about that. But Jakob has just been exceptional to start this year, and I think he really glues everything together for the Raptors because he's such a good passer. He can emulate some of the things that Scottie Barnes and Kelly Olynyk can do on the offensive end as the high post hubs. And so they have so many options that they can go to, right? And you can see them playing instinctually now. That you can see them kind of flowing from one action to the other, understanding, okay, this guy's going to be here. Let's move here. Let's do this. It's not in a monotonous way. It's not in a robotic way. It's more of a, hey, these are the options that are provided to us. Let's see what we get. There's option A, B, C, D to Z. What options do we get on this offensive possession? And I really, really enjoy the process the Raptors have. This is something I talked about last year when Darko Rajakovic was a rookie head coach. It's like, how bought in will this team eventually be on Darko's style? And we're seeing them really, really buy into in this preseason. It's not always going to look the best. It's not always going to make sense. And for what it's worth, I think the roster still needs tailoring for it to look better because you need more shooting, you need more floor spacing. But the guys who are able to weaponize it in a Grady, in a Kelly, honestly, even a Davion, because Davion's so good, so quick, even Jamal, right? Quick off-dribble handoffs, can burst into the lane and then create an advantage that way. I just think there's a world in which this Darko offense makes them look really good and maybe potentially even a top 10 offense in this league. We'll see. We will see because the defense is also something of a question mark. And I think you look at this team and the starting lineup, this starting lineup tonight was really good, right? And they had two players who would typically be on the bench for them in Davion and Ochai. Now you think about adding RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly into that lineup. I think the starters are going to be really fun this year, really entertaining. They'll be able to push almost any team in the NBA in terms of minute for minute, right? The bench is going to be the question. And so if guys like Davion and Ochai are playing like this, if you're having that bench contribution, maybe Bruce Brown comes back and contributes to you. Maybe Jonathan Mobo starts to figure it out. I think Mobo, especially on Sunday, really started to figure out how he could impact games through his playmaking, through his rebounding, through crashing and running in transition, those type of things. And so you kind of look and you wonder like, hey, man, this team could be really freaking fun. This could be an entertaining season. And that is the hope that I am selling y'all in preseason right now. That is what I'm trying to teach and kind of preach, honestly, right now. That like, look, the process might not be the best, and some days it'll look like it did on Sunday, but some days it'll look like it did today, where everything was hitting on all cylinders. And admittedly, the shooting is the great thing that happened today. It was contagious the way that they were shooting the ball and the way Scottie and Grady opened up the game. But I do think that in an idealistic world, in the ideal version of the Raptors, you're seeing Grady play like this. Prime Grady Dick is hooping like this. And maybe Scottie Barnes isn't starting out the quarter 4 or 5 from 3, but I think a lot of the other things that he did today resonates for an all-NBA and all-star level player. Very excited to see how that transpires over the 82-game season. They have one more preseason game against the Brooklyn Nets on Friday. We'll see how that goes. As always, folks, subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel. Hit that like button if you guys don't mind. We will see you guys on Friday. Peace out.